Well, there's Girly. She is so much happier here the last few days. She's we got some flea medicine on her. We gave her some antibiotics because she's got a bad tooth, and trying to get that tooth fixed up a little bit. And boy, I'm telling you, she is just so much happier. Just playing. Carolyn likes to run around the yard with her. It's kind of fun to watch. And when Carolyn's cooking, she wants to come out here and be close to Carolyn. Where's the other one? There's the other one. This one's a little bit more energetic. Definitely more youthful. She ain't gonna look at the camera. Red. Nope. There she is. So I don't know what to say about her. She's been pretty healthy since she got here, because she was eating a lot before Girly ever showed up. I've explained this before. She would come up here, eat, stay for the day, and then go back down there with Girly and then stay down there for a day. So she was eating at least every other day, which Girly was not. So the other thing about Girly is Girly smelled really bad when she got here, and Red didn't. And we figured that she probably had a skin yeast infection. So that seems to have went away pretty much. I mean, they both smell like dogs now. We got to give them a bath, but we're waiting for their stress levels to calm down a bit. Although you can't really tell they're stressed at the moment. We don't want to stress them with a bath, so. But it really does appear that maybe that yeast infection has gone away, because she doesn't. Oh, it was terrible. It was just terrible. You didn't want to pet her. She stunk so bad. But now you can pet her, and it's much nicer. So they go in. They follow instructions mostly. They can choose to ignore instructions, which I've never seen a dog do. But you yell at them. Not yell. You can't yell at them, because you yell at them, they immediately tuck tail and turn. So, but if you call them enough, they'll come by, or come back to you. And you know, we just got to learn each other's routines. Still trying to figure out what they're telling us. Sometimes they'll get up and go to the door, but you think, well, they must go need to go to the bathroom, but they don't. They just want to go to the door. So we're trying to learn their routines. But obviously we didn't want. I didn't want the dogs because Skitty, the cat, and I was right. Skitty was sick. There was something wrong with her all summer, and I was worried that if we brought the dogs in, that it would stress the cat out. And it did. One of the Girly went inside. She followed me, and I didn't know she followed me. And I turned around, and there she was. And the cat was just freaked out. And she didn't go eat or go to the bathroom again for probably a week. And then she died. So I know that she was sick. I get that. But I just added to her sickness is all I did by letting that dog follow me in. So we had planned putting them in the camper in the wintertime to keep them warm, and we were working on all these plans. But I hate that Skitty died, and I really don't even want to say this because it's going to sound terrible. Because personally, not Carolyn, but personally me, I think I would have rather kept Skitty over the dogs. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm glad we got the dogs. Carolyn is just thrilled with the dogs. She just loves these things to death. And I'm just so happy that these dogs have made her really happy. So then, like I said, the cat was getting sick and it was getting harder to take care of her. So she probably would have died. She probably wouldn't have made it through the winter anyways. But, there was a lot of reasons we took them in. One, we just felt terribly sorry for them. And I was surprised that nobody else was feeding them. As skinny and as terrible looking that they were. First time I saw Red, she was sitting down there in the ditch, kind of, behind the weeds a little bit. And I nearly ran over her when I was cutting the grass. So we gave her some chicken, and she wouldn't eat it. I mean, she just wouldn't come close to us. So I took the plate across the street so I could continue mowing. and she went over and ate it. And, you know, over time, she would come up to us, but she would never let us pet her or touch her. It took months before we were able to touch her. And things really accelerated once Girly got out of her pen and was able to come up here. Things really accelerated. They got friendlier much quicker. They just needed each other, I guess. Which is funny because they can't stand each other now. They don't want to use... If one's on the bed, they'll growl if the other one comes up on the bed. But it was obvious at the time, though, that Red was not going to leave Girly behind. She just wasn't going to do it. So, you know, I don't know what would have happened if Girly would have died behind that fence. What would Red have done? Would she have eventually abandoned her? I just don't know. But one of the other things that happened was when they both came up here, there's an old man that walks up and down the road with his dog a lot. And there's no problems with him. I've never spoke to him. And it was all fine. Well, I noticed that every time he would come up, and the dogs were here, he'd start yelling out to his dog, "Get off the road." Now, the dog is on a leash. If you want the dog on the road, just take the leash and move the dog. But he was constantly yelling at the dog. And I know he wasn't yelling at his dog. What he's trying to do, and this is terrible, I think he was trying to get these dogs, these two dogs, Red and Girly, to go bark at him and run down the street towards him, because he would start throwing rocks at him. I think he was that vindictive. I think he wanted to throw rocks at him. And the only way to do it, well, one day I saw him yelling at his dog, which got the attention of these two dogs, and I saw him pick up a rock and throw it at Red and hit her. It was in my ditch. They weren't on the road, they were in the ditch, my ditch. And I said, "Hey, stop throwing rocks in my ditch." But he did. He stopped throwing rocks. But then, of course, they would run off for the day. The dogs would. But every time he'd come up this road, he'd start yelling at his dog. Every time. Now, you can see him he walks this town quite a bit. This area, I should say. And you'll see him, and he's not yelling at his dog. Only when he's in front of here. I was wondering at first, is he trying to get our attention? Maybe, you know, we can say hi to him or something, because I don't talk to anybody. So, wasn't sure what it was all about. But other than, trying to get the attention of the dog. Well, since we now have the dogs here at the house, when he comes up the road, if I hear him down the road, I will start calling dogs over to come into the house. And of course, he's yelling at his dog, trying to get them to come in. Well, yesterday, I said sorry because I didn't see him. It was a little late, and our dog, the Girly and Red, started barking. And before they got off the road, I said, "Come on, get inside, get inside." And they came inside right away. I yelled sorry at him, and that was it. "Oh, I love these dogs. These dogs are great. I loved them all along." No, you didn't. You were throwing rocks at them. You were trying to intentionally entice them to come chase you down so you could throw rocks at them. You don't like these dogs. So so this morning, Carolyn was outside with the dogs, and I was editing the video, and it's hard for me to hear because I have earplugs, those earphones in, editing the video. And I hear Carolyn yell, "Hey, hey!" So I jump up, run outside, and he's yelling at his dog, and she's trying to get the dogs in, and I'm trying to help her. And then he starts yelling. Red comes in, but Girly is confused because he is still yelling, but not at his dog anymore. He's yelling at us. "I just love those dogs. They're the greatest dogs in the world. I just love them to death." And on and on and on. And I said, "Be quiet. Be quiet." And he just kept repeating the same thing over and over again. Finally, I said, "Shut up." And he got the point. He shut up and started walking. Well, I'm starting to get... Now, me yelling "shut up" has scared Girly. You can't yell in front of them. They're still very timid. So that chased her away from me. So now I'm trying to get her to come back calmly. And she's starting to come back. And what does he do? He starts yelling at his dog, "Get off the road! Get off the road!" He's trying to get that dog to come back up there. He is intentionally doing this. So I yelled, "Shut up," again. So I know I'm the rude one. I'm the one that's the meanie. I should be nice to everybody. But I'm just sick of being nice to everybody. I am sick of it. You be nice to people and they walk all over you. Yesterday I said I was sorry. And today, what did he do? He pushed it. He tried to get those dogs out there. Well, I'm not going to be nice today. Besides that, I said, "Hey, be quiet, twice. I said it just as loud as I could. And he wouldn't shut up long enough to either hear it or he ignored it. He didn't do anything until I said, "Shut up." Then he got mad, of course, stormed off, and then started yelling at his dog. I'm just tired of being nice. It might get me in trouble. I mean, somebody might want to come kick my butt. Either they're going to come kick my butt because I yelled "shut up," or they're going to come kick my butt because my dogs are chasing them down the road. You know, they're just trying to pick a fight. Well, I'm not going to let them just pick a fight without me having some say-so in the whole thing. I'm just so sick of people. They all do it. They sit around drinking all, I mean, you can tell he's a drunk. They sit around drinking all night, hooting and hollering and misbehaving, and then the next day they're still half drunk and just agitated and got a hangover, and they're just mean and just want to be aggravating. I'm just sick of people. The whole world seems to have just lost its mind. I say that in the comment section just like so, "Oh no, there's a lot of good people out there." Where? I've not met any in years. They all turn out to be just terrible people. Every time I shake someone's hand, turns out, nope, I shouldn't have done that. I remember years ago, there's a couple next door, me and my ex-wife, and they were new to the neighborhood and they were younger because we lived in an older neighborhood, so we didn't get to hang around with a lot of people. And they seemed like a nice couple with a couple kids. So I think it was his kids actually. So one Thanksgiving, maybe it was Christmas, I don't know. Anyway, we cooked a big dinner. It must have been Christmas because there's presents involved too for the kids. We cooked a big turkey dinner, huge. And we carried it over to their place and we had this nice dinner. Well, before long, turns out she was doing, the woman, was doing some sort of crack or crank or I don't know, whatever it was. I really don't know. And they become terrible individuals. Absolutely terrible. You know, coming over and saying, "Oh, the kids are hurt. You know, one of the kids is hurt. We got to take them to the doctor. We don't have any gas." And so we, give them $20 so they, call the, or get some gas so they can take the kid to the doctor. Just trying to be nice. It turned out that she was buying her, her stuff. And he's like, "Okay, you stabbed me in the back." So she came over one time, said, "Can I use your phone?" Of course, being nice. She made her phone call, sat on the porch, talked to whoever she was talking to for probably an hour. And she brought the phone back in, said thanks. And I got suspicious. I was like, I hit the redial button. It dialed back, and the person answered. I said, "Hey, somebody just used my phone. Well, can I ask what this phone number is? Or the area code, or something?" And I think they gave me the area code. I said, "I really appreciate it." Turned out it was a long distance phone call. That was an hour's worth of charges that we had to pay for. I think at that point started to realize the mentality of people. No matter how good you treat people, no matter how nice you try to be, they're going to stab you in the back. They're not going to return the favor. And so, when people say, "You got to have friends," why do I want friends? So I can do all the work for them and they can just continue to take and not do anything in return? Not even provide companionship? No, I'm not interested. So I think I'm going to jump off of here. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video over my other channel. Really appreciate it if you go check it out. So hope I can inspire you to not trust anyone so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.